I had a new awareness today when I was sitting around thinking about things. I realized why people at the top, the elite that run things, the people that are the wealthiest, the ones that make the decisions for this world, the ones that have run the world into the ground, the ones that still perpetuate war and things like the pandemic. Now, we're not even going to get into that. If you know what, if you know, you know. People that perpetuate things like strife and stress on an individual basis down at the bottom levels of society. It doesn't have to be that way. It's why we still have a scarcity mindset in this world, where everybody thinks that, oh, nobody, everybody has to pay exorbitant amounts of money for stuff. There's always a lack of money in people's lives. There's always a lack of time for anybody to do anything. It seems to me if you're not paying anybody anything, then the very least you could do is give them time. Plenty of time to do what they want to do and with what little money they have. But that's another video for another day. What I want to talk about today is the causes for the things that go on with the elite and the things that go on in these secret societies like the Freemasons, and why they allow the things to go on that they allow. It's also the cause of it's even the cause of people that commit adultery and divorce and all kinds of things like that. It's the reason people are criminals. Why is a criminal a criminal? Well, let's talk about it. Why is there divorce? Well, divorce is usually caused because people are selfish and lazy. Selfish and lazy. You're selfish. You go and you cheat on your partner. You're lazy. You won't do nothing to, clean up around the house. You won't do anything to, to show your partner that you care. You won't do anything to try to make life easier on everybody in the household. You won't, blah, blah, blah. You won't try to be, your partner wants you to be a little bit of this. You don't sit down and discuss it and have reciprocity and a give and take. Reciprocity, it means you get back. You put in and you get back. Two-way street. That's what reciprocity is. Let's don't let the fancy word overwhelm you. So, you want to be a criminal. Okay, so we got a criminal problem. Well, why are a lot of these people criminals? Well, they're selfish and they're lazy. They don't want to work, or they don't want to work like everybody else, or they don't want to work enough to get what they want. They could get, a lot of these people are very smart, but they're smart in an evil kind of way. And so what do? They want to create shortcuts. Why? Because they're lazy. You got people that they're selfish. They want to take from you to give to themselves. So again, selfishness and laziness. I mean, what the hell? The people at the top, the politicians. Here we go, the politicians. Why do they do what they do? Which is make it look like they're not doing anything wrong, when a lot of times they're cutting corners, they're unethical, they're lining their pockets, and they're doing it in a gray area where they can get away with it. And then in some cases, when it's real extreme and they piss off the wrong people, they get caught and they get, arrested or put out of office. But a lot of these politicians never get caught. They do whatever they want to, and their buddies, their Masonic buddies, or their skull and bones buddies, or their, go on and on and on. They work together with them, keep them out of jail. But they've done all kinds of unethical, evil things while they were in office. Now why? Why would they do that? Selfishness and laziness. They're selfish to cheat the people. They're selfish to cheat their constituents out of money. To lie to people. Why would they lie to people? Because they're selfish. And they're lazy. Yeah, I know some of you go, well, how can they be lazy? They work their ass off doing this. Yeah, but they're lazy in other ways. They want to be seen in the public, but they don't really want to do it the right way. They want to cut corners, a shortcut. Well, that's lazy. If you are cutting corners to where it's unethical, or you're playing in the gray area, when you know damn right well that you're fucking people over. Sometimes it's downright criminal. The only difference is they think because they don't get caught that it's not criminal. That's not true. When you need to do stuff in the... Let me put it this way. You need to know that when nobody's seeing, nobody's looking, nobody's around to notice, there's no cameras around, there's nobody around to witness, you need to know in your heart that what you're doing is right, that what you're doing is ethical, that what you're doing is lawful. Just because there's no somebody doesn't want me to get this out. You need to know in your heart whether you're doing the right thing. You need to know in your heart whether you're cutting corners or whether you're doing things the right way. You need it. When I say cut corners, I'm not talking about trying to lessen the burden. Say like you've got something in your backyard and you've got a big bunch of firewood, and you get somebody, instead of you making 3 trips out of it, you get somebody to come out in the backyard and pile the extra wood on top so you can make 2 trips instead of 3 trips. That's shortcut. That's a legal shortcut. I think we all know what I'm talking about here when I say unethical and illegal shortcut. So, and this goes on with CEOs. You do things with the company and line your pocket. You do things where you work together with shareholders inside the company. You work together with people that friends of yours that are inside of the government and the Securities and Exchange Commission, to look the other way, to not get you in trouble, and you're doing all kinds of unethical stuff when it comes to the markets with your stock options and getting away with it. So, like that miraculous situation where right before the pandemic, you had politicians in D.C. that were dumping their stock, or their stock options even. What did they know? Well, they knew what was coming because they were tipped off. Back in January. And March, April rolled around, and then we had the full-blown pandemic. Funny how nobody ever got in trouble for any of that. Oh yeah, sure, people noticed it. Some people said stuff about it. People wrote articles about it, but nothing ever really happened. Imagine that. Epstein files come out. Nobody ever seemed to get in trouble, really. Imagine that. Nobody says shit. Imagine that. And I could go on and on and on. You got people stealing from all walks of life, all parts of the government. You got people from out of the government working inside the government, outside the government. You got people working in private corporations. You got people working in charities and non-profits that are stealing. And you know what? I've narrowed it down to selfishness and laziness. That's what it boils down to. That's why they're doing the criminal activity like they do. Selfishness and laziness. That's it. That's it. They don't want to work, or they don't want to work as hard, or they want to, save time. Hell, we all want to save time. We all want to make more money. We do. We all got, other things to do. We've all got, we all like to retire and take off and go to the beach. Or we all would like to have to work less and work, 10 hours a week and run to the beach. Or jump on a plane and go around the world. Sure, we all would love to do that. And we'd all like to make $100 million a year. Or 500. Hell, if we could all make $500 million. Who would turn that down? Who would say, I don't really want to. No, everybody would say, what if somebody said, okay, you can make $1 trillion in 1 year? Who would say no to that? Nobody. Nobody would say no to that. So, everybody wants to make more money, and everybody wants to save time. Everybody wants to go have fun. Everybody wants to have more time to do more stuff for themselves. But you know what? Some people aren't selfish about it, and some people aren't lazy about it. And if you're a criminal, you're selfish or lazy. Selfish because you want to push other people down to lift yourself up. Selfish. You're taking from other people. Or you're lazy because you want to do something that's illegal in order to put yourself in a better position because you don't want to have to take as long to get to where you want to be. Or you don't want to have to put in as much work. Or you don't want to have to, spend the time, the money to get to where you want to go. Or spend the effort to where you want to go. Do what you want to do. So you want to kick back quicker. Take it easy quicker. It's lazy. Now, there's different levels of lazy, There's lazy at the extreme where, you do absolutely nothing. And then there's lazy where, you're still putting in work, but you're trying to put in less than the next guy. Now, if you combine selfishness with that, you're putting in less work than the next guy at the expense of the next guy or lady. And so you're combining the two. So I think that's where a lot of our problem in society stems from. When you got those two things going on, that's where you got major problems.